Well, thank you everyone for joining me. I just noticed it is 7 o'clock, so I'm going to get started. Thank you for joining me for Build Your Retirement Roadmap, creating a financial future you can't wait to live. And so with that, you did notice when you joined, I am recording this session. This is mostly for marketing purposes, which allows me to repost my workshop out on YouTube so that those who might be missing it, they would be able to go in and watch the replay. I also will grab some of the information like quotes or some nuggets from our discussion, and I often will use them in my social media. But again, this is just for marketing. And then this workshop is being provided as educational and informational purposes only. I am not a licensed financial advisor, an attorney, or an accountant. I do these workshops mostly just to get financial awareness out there and to expand on financial literacy. And with that, if you're attending, if you'd like to put yourself on mute, that is wonderful in case you have any background noise. But this is going to be an interactive conversation, so feel free to either come off camera, raise your hand either virtually or showing your face. As well, you can put anything in the chat. If you have a question or if you just want to put a statement out there, feel free to use all of these options available. Victoria, are you practicing the raise your hand, or did you?
No. I just wanted to say quickly, I'm leaving at 4:30 because I have a 2-hour Bible study every week now for 4 years from 4:30 to 6:30, Monday,
Okay.
Wednesday, and Friday. So I'll be
Great.
hopping off. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, you can watch the replay. You will get a
Yeah,
copy
exactly.
of it tomorrow.
Exactly. But I'm here for 30. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks for letting me know.
Absolutely.
And so again, part of my story was I went to night school in the early 90s. I met someone. He was kind of a little alarmed by my credit card debt. So he really helped start me on the path of getting out of debt. And then my dad also was a blessing in getting me started into 401k. I was very lucky to have continued employment and a variety of leadership roles. And when an opportunity to depart corporate life came about early last year, I decided, I'm ready. Not necessarily, I didn't step away because I hated the work, but I was looking for something that was more impactful and more purpose-driven. So I launched my business, and I'm really excited to kind of provide help to other women to just kind of build financial freedom and potentially retire on their own timeline like I did. And so with that, I created this workshop because, when I was living intentionally in my early 20s, I was very blessed to have continued employment, which then allowed me to have consistent retirement contributions. But I know not everyone has that consistency that I had, as well as I got, as I built on, my planning, I always thought, okay, I'm going to retire early, 58, 58, 58, number. But then as I looked at, my opportunities as I mentioned, when this buyout came out, it was more around, do I want to wait for that particular age to appear? Or is there something that I could do and the structure around how I would retire that would give me the financial freedom to go in a different direction? And so I wanted to create this workshop because oftentimes when we are thinking about retirement, we're very focused on the financial perspectives, but there's so much more that goes into thinking about retirement, planning for retirement, and getting ready for retirement. And so I wanted to kind of bring some of those thoughts and ideas that I had as I was envisioning my own retirement. And so that's where I came up with the retirement roadmap process. So with that, again, retirement isn't just about your age. It's about defining financial decisions that might allow you to then step away, whether it's going to be based on your decision to step away, or unfortunately, many people are forced to step away into retirement when they're not ready, or it's due to health, or it could be taking care of parents, or just being laid off. And so I really wanted to kind of help many women feel left behind behind or unsure about their own finances when it comes to retirement. So I just wanted to remind us all, you're not alone. There's many resources out there, whether it's resources from at your local municipality. There's online resources talking about retirement and finances. There's one-on-one coaching like what I offer, as well as there's books, materials, articles. There's so much information, and sometimes we forget to go out there and ask for help. So I just want to remind you, you're not alone. There's many things that you can reach out to for help. But today I really want to talk about how do we intentionally prepare for your future as you think about retirement, whether or not retirement is 5 years away, 5 months away, 25 years away. Again, it's to make sure that you're ready and prepared for when retirement does arrive and or come into your immediate visibility. So again, I'm going to go over the roadmap. We're going to talk about retirement vision, some financial building blocks that you can develop, as well as those next steps to discuss, so that hopefully you can really create your personalized direction for your retirement journey. And just for awareness, I do have the link for the workbook, which will come at the end. But Victoria, I know you mentioned that you were going to have to leave early, so that will be in the email link. Be sure to download that tomorrow. And Allison, welcome. So glad you ladies could join me today. So if you want to put in the chat, what does retirement mean to you? What are some words that come to mind when you're describing retirement? Initially, for me, it was like, oh, so much more time on my calendar. And it was just like freedom, whether freedom is financial freedom, time freedom, it could just be decision. I was at decision fatigue, maybe a little bit. And so for me, it was like reduction in decisions. Cindy wrote in the chat, do what I want when you want. That is, I think, something very important. Does anyone else want to share, what does retirement mean to you? Travel, awesome. Yes, Mary. More travel, please. Experiencing new restaurants and less stress. It's interesting. A lot of people, I read a couple articles, a lot of people have to watch their retirement budgeting because they go out to eat so much more than ever before as they go into retirement. But again, I do believe, I do support some more extravagant eating out, or just maybe the frequency of eating out, I think is much more beneficial. And definitely the less stress. Victoria said, I think of retirement as a shift from one thing to another. Refire, not retire. Oh, I love that. Yes, it's another phase, of work, or an encore opportunity for all of us. Yes. And I think for me, again, the awareness is so many people have talked about retirement equals the money. Retirement, I have to have $1 million. Now I think they say 1.2, 1.4. A lot of when we talk about preparing for retirement, it's the money side. And I truly believe saving for retirement is important, but the other part of it is the planning of really what are you going to do? And I think that's where, again, retirement is about the new lifestyle. Victoria, you talked about it. Refiring, perhaps having more time to do other activities, different lifestyle experiences. Mary, she wrote, I've noticed more eating out now when I'm unsure. Yes, it is one, I think, again, when you lose a little bit of the work routine, we want to experience more a lifestyle, which is all good and well. It's just making sure you're doing it within boundaries. But I think for me, again, a lot of us were taught the number one thing to think about for retirement is how much do I need to save for retirement? And I think for me, that is important, as I mentioned, but it's not just about the financial perspective. There's so many other things. And I think for me, it's intentionally preparing for the life you want to live, not just the money that you need to live on when you go into retirement. And so I've got 6 steps on the retirement roadmap journey that we're going to go over today. And again, these are just some of the things that I thought about as I was preparing for retirement, now that I'm in retirement. And a lot of it is, as you'll notice, it's not just about the money. And so the very first one on the retirement roadmap is the lifestyle. This is where I wish for myself, I had really thought about what is it I want my future to look like. And for some of us, it could be very different. It could be, again, it's not about stepping away from work, because again, for me, I retired, a little bit over 4 years earlier than planned. So I hadn't really thought about what the lifestyle would look like. So I had to do a little bit of a quick, an adjustment once I retired. And so I really want to encourage you to think about what's the retirement lifestyle you want to live before you have to start calculating those numbers. And that could be, well, where do you want to live? A lot of times we live close to work, or we live close, within the area. Like if you're required to go in the office, you want to live within a decent, commuting time to where your office is. But now that you don't have to live close to work, maybe you would choose somewhere different. Maybe you would choose like on the water. Back in Michigan, a lot of people would say, I'm near the city for work, but once I retire, I want a lake house. And I think it's really important for you to think about. The other thing is there's a lot of dialogue around what will your days look like? And more specifically, there was a lot of literature written about specifically, what are you going to do on Tuesday morning? A lot of people come off of the weekend when they're retired. They have a go, 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 attitude of catch up on Monday. But then Tuesday comes around and they're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my day. And so what will your days look like? Are you going to have, of course, you're going to have probably still some chores, but is it community support? Is it activism? Is it going to be more activities? How are you going to spend your time? Are you going to do it with more neighbors, friends, family? Maybe you'll babysit more for supporting your children, your loved ones. And the other thing is, what's really going to matter most for you to, again, give you purpose to wake up every day. Sometimes people I've heard when they retire, they say, well, Kathy, I somehow fill my day, but is it worthwhile or is it busy work? And I think for me, it's got to be around purpose, because otherwise, if you don't have that purpose, there's a fear then, for at least for me, is I'm just going to sit around watching TV. So I got to have something to get me motivated. Yes, to, get healthier, and live, more meaningful with, my food and my exercise, but also, what can you do for your community that really gives you that purpose and, that important aspect. And so again, that is around your lifestyle. And this is not to, as I've moved through my retirement, I'm 15 months in ish. This is not something that I would expect you can get done in one session. So I would really encourage you to really think this through, perhaps on a couple weekends, and flush it out. Next is know your starting point. So again, the finances are important, but it's also, you really need to get control of your cash flow before you retire. So many people are not used to living on a budget. And once you leave the workforce, and now you're on really more what I would call guaranteed income, if you're not on a normal spending plan, it is really difficult now that you don't have this excess cash flow coming in. You're much more restricted on, where you're going to be drawing your money from. And so I really encourage you really got to get control of what your spending habits are, where you are in your savings. If you hear nothing from me, please, everyone, try to get out of debt before you retire, because it is so much more complicated to get out of debt once you've got limited income coming in from your retirement resources. So really encourage you to get out of debt as well. Try to have a robust emergency fund. 3 to 6 months is still applicable, maybe even more, depending on where you are from a savings perspective in your retirement accounts. But you've got to know what is the facts around your financial picture. And so that's where, again, dream about the lifestyle and then understand what is an opportunity once you have awareness to your financial picture. And again, there's no judgment. It's just to give you facts as you think about preparing for retirement so that you have some options. Third is, if you're going to live it and you know how much you got, well, is it reasonable to live on that lifestyle that you're dreaming about? And for me, a lot of it was people, I talked about eating out. People think about retirement, I'm going to travel more. Well, but did you plan when you retired and you thought about retirement, did you add more to your travel budget? Other instances are a lot of people retire before they hit 65 and can take Medicare. And so did you plan for having extra money for more out of pocket or perhaps more premium to pay out because of ACA, individual health insurance? It's not employer provided health insurance. So really understand and flush out this idea that you had in milestone 1 of a lifestyle. What would it cost to live that lifestyle? And again, this is where you're really trying to envision and get a better handle on those costs, because often to live the lifestyle I want, I may want to, like, cut back a little bit on my living expenses, maybe downsize or live in a cheaper area. Maybe if you live in a city today, you could go rural or go in the burbs where it's going to be a little bit cheaper. The main thing is understanding too, if you do have to go into retirement with debt, how do you make sure that you minimize the cost of debt as you go into retirement? And then ensuring that you have proper insurance and have your estate plan in place, which is like your will, an advance directive, and the durable power of attorney, both for healthcare and for finances. And just really think about your house. Do I need to be renovating? Do I have money set aside for a new roof? I recently moved to Florida, and supposedly they're like, yeah, you need to get a new roof every 15 years for some reason. And I'm like, okay, well, are we budgeting for that? And so you really got to think about and flush out those expenses more logically as you go into retirement. And so again, that's estimating what those retirement lifestyle costs are, because you can't automatically assume it's going to go down. Did you have a question, Victoria?
I do. So for something like, okay, so everything that and I know you're not done here, but are you going to talk about investing too? Because things like a new roof every 15 years, if you're looking down the road, you may put your money in a certain instrument where, I don't know. I mean, because that's kind of scary if you think about, well, anyway,
I think what it goes again to the lifestyle question is flushing out. Like, should I have, I'm just going to throw out a number. Should I set aside $500 every month for normal upkeep of my home? I've had a variety of conversations with individuals. People, as they retire, they forget about medical debt and they forget about home maintenance investment.
Mm-hmm.
And so they may keep up the upkeep on maintenance activities like my air conditioning and my furnace, but they don't think about, okay, my furnace, when I retired was 15 years old. Well, again, you may have to replace it. So when you think about the lifestyle costs, it's thinking about what are some of the things that I might need to have in my budget for ongoing maintenance. Again, remembering often when we retire, we still got 25 years of living. And so what are the things that you need to still plan for? A new car in 10 years. Like you said, if I need a new roof, if I need, an HVAC. So again, as a lifestyle and what it costs, I would think about what are some ongoing maintenance activities that I might want to have as a buffer, not only for the house, but for my health. Oftentimes, a lot of people, as they retire, they don't envision, I've seen, unfortunately, really sad circumstances. They get cancer and the cancer treatments aren't covered. You see these crazy articles online. This whatever cancer treatment wasn't covered by Medicare, and they go into $70,000 worth of medical debt.
So I'm going to keep my long-term care policy. I was going to cancel it. Keep it.
No,
Kathy.
I would keep it. Yeah. Definitely keep it.
Because I got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but you also want to make sure, understand, a lot of people forget to look at what is your out-of-pocket maximum. And so for me, I have a high deductible plan, but I still want to try to have, again, in a perfect scenario, is if I had to have worst case scenario, I'm going to have to come up with my out-of-pocket maximum is $10,000. I should be able to have access to $10,000. Hope I never need it, but you still want to make sure that you are mindful of that. And so a lot of these, as they go into retirement, a lot of retirees don't think about the big ticket items. And so then they're like strapped because they can't pull $10,000 for a new HTC, $10,000 for, out of pocket maximums. And so think about some of those as you go into your retirement, or what are those big ticket items? How could I pay for them, or how could I prepare if I had to? Because they'll hit you and it could devastate you. I mean, especially if you're married, a lot of couples, one starts to have medical issues and drains the money, unfortunately, and you've got to be able to balance what's left over for the other spouse. So again, planning for some of those activities, again, you can't plan for everything, but that's why they always talk about you should at least have 3 to 6 months of expenses in an emergency fund. And if you had to draw it down from your retirement accounts in the future because you spent that, is that part of your planning? Cindy wrote, I like the healthcare reminder because you forget about how those things could change from now to retirement. Absolutely. A lot of the big ticket items, if you look around at maybe your parents and how they're, taking care of their homes, they can't handle a lot of big repairs anymore because they planned for living expenses, but not the major investment to take care of their home, to take care of their bodies. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're estimating those expenses. Really keep those future repairs in mind as well. And so milestone 4 is, again, okay, now that we figured out how I want to live, what's my estimated cost? I know what I have currently. Is it going to be enough? And so you really have to dig into, how do I understand what those income sources are? And will I have enough? Again, projecting today's numbers against when you retire, 5 years, 10 years, whatever that number is, will you have enough? And again, understanding whether it might be coming from your retirement account, it could be coming from a savings account. I love, my HSA, I'm a big proponent of HSAs, though that's not a retirement account. It's also another investment resource that I can use to pay, for my health care. You got to understand, where do you have all these little pockets of money and what is the longevity of them? And so you really have to analyze the compound growth opportunities so that you can play around, not play, but understand, when I look at all these funds, where am I drawing from? What are the tax advantages of drawing them in a certain order? You really want to plug in all those numbers so that you can understand what's that long-term opportunity to give you money, and whether that money is going to come in once a year or it's going to come in monthly. How are you going to be able to balance that also against your tax liability? Because there's a lot, and this is where, again, I'm not an accountant or financial advisor, but if you have a variety of accounts, I would really encourage you to at least pay for one-time sit down with both an accountant and a financial advisor, just kind of help you plan it all out. Because when you look at all your accounts and how they play out, timing of what your age is and the tax liability really dictates how you should be drawing down your funds. And I just don't know have enough information to know all that, but I know it's impactful if you're not careful. Our aunt, my sister and I, she gave us her woes one year. She wanted to go on a trip, and it took her over. There's like this tax limit. It took her over, and it was like a $40,000 tax hit to take like $12,000 out of her retirement account. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I know she hit the number, and which took her into another tax bracket. And so again, you got to watch all that. And that's why you want to have, these people, these professionals in your corner, even if you have to pay for, a certain fee, maybe once a year, to really help you get that direction. But it's definitely very important to know, where are those income streams coming from and how will you lay them out to support you? Milestone number 5 is around any gaps. And again, in a perfect world, you'd be wonderful. But if you're not, it's okay. Again, there's no judgment here. This is to just know, if you have a gap in some of your accounts. Like, a lot of people, when I've chatted with them about retiring, they're like, Kathy, how are you retiring before you've hit 59 and a half? and withdrawn money from your accounts without having to pay a penalty. Well, guess what? I learned about the rule of 55. And that rule of 55 allows me to draw money from my last employer before I hit 59 and a half without any any penalty from the government. But again, you've got to understand, maybe you have a gap in, you need a certain amount of money to retire, but you don't have enough to draw upon. This is where you really need to understand where those retirement gaps are and what can you do about fixing them if possible. And again, your goal would be, I need to know them now so I have years and months to prepare to fix the gap, course correct the gap, maybe giddy up on the gap, whatever that might be, but you've got to know what that gap is so that you can work towards fixing it and hopefully be able to allow you to live the life that you really dreamed about. And so with that, again, I talk a lot about financial freedom and financial independence. You really want to think about, one of the things that I want to bring up is financial independence means something different to all of us, as well as financial freedom. But here's two examples that I really liked. As you go into retirement, I wish for all of you to have the financial freedom to live the retirement life that you want and that you dreamed about. But you really have to understand, what does that mean for you personally? Because everyone's financial freedom and financial independence means something different. Some people retire with $250,000 in their retirement account and they're okay with that. There's other people that want millions of dollars. And so you have to figure out, for you to retire, what does that independence mean for you to live the retirement lifestyle that you've dreamed about? And we're all going to have different numbers. But if you have a gap on where you are to where you want to go, it's important that you think about it, know it, and then build a plan around it. And that's where milestone number 6 is, create the action plan. This is where you've got a plan. If you haven't even thought about this yet, develop a plan to dream about your lifestyle. And then how do you prepare? Get control of your finances. Sit down, do a budget, develop your spending plan. Think about where you need to go if you want to move somewhere, or if you want to downsize. What is it that you're going to need as you think about that lifestyle and how much it costs? And then if you do have a gap, well, let's define an action plan around it. You shouldn't tackle them all at once. List them out and then pick one to start working on. The main thing is, there's no perfect retirement plan, and there is no retirement plan that is equal to all of us. There's 5 of us on the call. We're each going to have our own retirement roadmap and our own retirement plan. You have to decide what it is you want and what are your circumstances and where you want to go. But the main thing is, if you do have gaps, you need to develop a plan to hopefully bridge them ahead of time before retirement. Because unfortunately, there was an article that said 50% of the people start claiming Social Security at 62, not because they wanted to, but because they were forced to. And again, could be circumstances out of your control, caring for your parents. It could be health reasons. It could be you got laid off and you haven't been able to find more work. But to me, creating the retirement roadmap and defining a plan for when you want to retire and start thinking about it gets you ready based on your circumstances. So if you're like me and this wonderful opportunity came up, you were ready for it. And so you can move forward. And so with that, if you want to put in the chat, where does everyone think they are right now? If you had to rate yourself, have you thought about what your retirement lifestyle would be? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling you're okay? Where do you believe you are in your journey so far? Did any of these resonate with you that said, I think I'm at number 1, or you're okay, Cindy? I think the main thing is, this is just to give you awareness of what some of the opportunities are as you go about, and know that you can continue to make progress. 5 out of 10, that's good, Allison. It's a start. It's a start. You can keep going up. That's wonderful. So for me, again, it's knowing where you are. and acknowledging that there's more to do. And so I'd really encourage you, give yourself time for reflection. When I send you the workbook link later on, you'll see I put a lot in the workbook around journaling and reflecting, because I think it's so important that we don't, we go into retirement planning for it, just like we planned what was our career. As we were in high school, we thought about what do we want to do, and that continued to pivot and shift over time. And so I think it's really important that you really envision what that lifestyle is going to look like so that you can plan for it. Mary put, I think good, but so much is dependent on Social Security and Medicare. Yeah, and I think, again, it's getting those facts. Like, you can log in today, Mary, to your Social Security website and understand what's the number I'll get if I get Social Security, 62, 65, 67, 70. Like, you've got some facts there. And so, again, and knowing what Medicare would cost. I know Allison, I hope she doesn't mind, I would share this. She was very excited to go on Medicare because if I remember correctly, her healthcare got cheaper, and so knowing some of those facts helps you to build a more robust plan. So definitely encourage you with data and information will truly, I believe, improve your retirement confidence. But with that, I know I've given you a lot of information. And I think for you, it's also having awareness. You can't tackle everything all at once. So again, get awareness if you have gaps, develop your action plan, but really try tackling one step first. If you have 5 number one priorities, guess what? You're hardly going to make any progress. You need to have one number one, accomplish it, then move on to the next one, and then the next one. And so with that, again, I really encourage creating vision boards. You'll see I have a retirement goal action plan as part of one of the pages in the workbook. But again, just think about one of the milestones that you would like to focus on. Maybe put it in the chat to see I can hold you accountable to that. But I think it's really important that you use these and then give some reflection. If not tonight, then maybe this weekend. Yeah, Allison put in the chat, she was paying $450 a month from her employer. And so I think it did get a little bit cheaper when I think you remember it went to Medicare. So that was wonderful. I recently finished a book that was called Good Morning, Good Life. And you might say, well, what does that have to do with our conversation today, everyone? The author was Amy Landino. And she talked a lot about small decisions become big results. And one of the things that she talked about in her book was, thank you, Cindy, it was a good book. To build the life I wanted, I had to do more than just show up for everyone else. I had to show up for myself. And so, ladies, this is your time. You deserve to find and discover what is the retirement that you want to live. We have to put our mask on first sometimes and focus on ourselves. So this was a really good book because she was trying to generate these ideas that say you can create some simple habits to master your morning so that you could upgrade your life. Because she's like, hey, if you can't find time for yourself, let me help you find time for 30 minutes in the morning or even 10 minutes in the morning so you can focus on the things that you want to focus on. Don't let your day get derailed by the rest of your life, your family, your activities, your other commitments, work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Find some time to reflect on what you want to do so that you can create your day with that clarity and accomplishments. And so she really talked about saving that small amount of time, whether it was daily, weekly, monthly, so that you can invest in your growth and keep adding accomplishments and expanding on your plans year over year. And then those tiny daily habits toward your goals over time ensures that you could reach that retirement potential that I know you're striving for. So it was a really good book. We got it on Kindle. Thank you, Cindy. If you're looking for it, I really would recommend it. Let me know if you want me to. You should come back and watch the replay. It was a really good book. Really quick read, too. And I, too, gave it a 5 stars like Cindy did. But I also want to acknowledge as I think about, building our retirement, having goals around it. What's one of the mindset blocks that you think you're going to have to overcome in first couple days, weeks, months, as you think about your retirement roadmap. Please put in the chat, because I know many of us, we procrastinate because we know there's something, going to hinder us. And I think that's where, if we can really flush out those mindset blocks that are going to happen before they happen, you can create an action plan for them, or you can create an action item of how you could overcome it before it ever happens, so that it doesn't hinder you from moving forward. Instead, you say, like Cindy put in the chat, I'm not good with money. Okay, well, start thinking about maybe some affirmations or something that you could write out that shows that you are good with money. You're good with consistency. Think about what that is, so that you can remind yourself, if you have that negativity down the road, you come back to it. And so Cindy wrote, I filed for bankruptcy 30 years ago, and I still feel like it might happen again, even though I know it won't. More affirmations, yes. Allison wrote, I'm afraid that I will need to work forever. Allison, I think for you, it's but acknowledge, what are the facts? What do I need to retire? What are the funds that I need to retire? And how close am I to that? And again, it goes back to, maybe it might not be working full-time forever. It could be, maybe you could scale back a little bit and work part-time to help supplement. But again, you've got to think about what is the mindset block, and how can you kind of give yourself some affirmation and or some food for thought to get over that procrastination of what's holding you back. Mary wrote, I'm afraid to spend money, so pulling on my retirement funds is scary. It is, Mary, that was the number one thing for me. I was not afraid when I first retired, but around month 7 and 8, the loss of the paycheck from an identity perspective and a continuity, it is very scary, very scary. And so that's why I would really encourage you, what would give you comfort and confidence to know that you can get over this anxiety. So for me personally, was really detailing out where my money's coming from and what were my guardrails. And so for me, again, it was, okay, I can pull out my lowest guardrail when it's a poor market year, and then on my highest guardrail of money every month when it's a great year with investments. And I just got to work within my guardrails. And for me, that was where, okay, Kathy, just as long as you're within your guardrails, you're golden. And that lessened my anxiety as I thought about pulling these funds. And so again, you really got to push yourself to reflect on, what is it that could hold me back, and start flushing out how you could overcome those. Because that all of these ladies, all of these this negative mindset and these mind blocks, these roadblocks, they're going to come up. But if you can think about them, write down, whether in an email, journal, your electronic notes, write them out, flush them out with some affirmations, how you're going to overcome it, think it through, so that when they happen, you go back to your notes and you're like, okay, it's okay. Let that anxiety go. I'm good. Remember, I thought about this, and you're golden. But again, we all come up with those mind blocks, mindset mind blocks. And just as long as you plan for them, you'll get through them. They will no longer be roadblocks. They'll just be little bumps in the road, and you'll just keep driving along in your retirement lifestyle that you dreamed about. And so with that, I'm a huge believer in affirmations. Mandisa has this song, Overcomer. And whenever I'm kind of feeling down, or if I really need a boost in my energy, or just really like, Kathy, you can do this, I will pull out her song on YouTube, watch her video. It's really a good affirmation for me. I know others like poetry. They like reading quotes, Bible verses. Really find for you what is at least one or two things that when you get depressed, anxious, sad, or just I just don't think I'm going to make it, you can pull these out. I would encourage you to print them on your wall, put them on your Cindy's one for putting things on her mirror. These affirmations are just so important for you, so that when you are down or you're worried, you can recharge, rejuvenate yourself, really believe in yourself that it's possible to keep moving forward. Because when you change your thoughts and you change your beliefs, you can change your behaviors and overcome what is getting you down or giving you anxiety. Especially as you go into retirement, it is different, everyone. I got to tell you, it is completely different. You miss all the people. I miss going into the office because there was adults around. I don't miss the commute, but there's all these, it's a big, big change. And the more you can keep a positive mindset and acknowledge what some of those differences are going to look like and build a plan around overcoming them, the stronger you're going to be in retirement, I truly believe. But again, loneliness, lack of community, all of this is absolutely true. And so the more you can build what your lifestyle will look like, how you're going to spend your days, who you will spend your days with, this goes all into a stronger, more robust, and healthy and well retirement. And so really would encourage you to put in the chat what's one action that you're going to take this week to start your own retirement roadmap. What are you thinking? Are you going to dream about your lifestyle? Are you going to understand what your retirement costs are going to look like? What's the one thing each of you will take this week towards your own retirement roadmap? Can you put it in chat, or you're welcome to take yourself off mute? Mary, understand the retirement costs. Very good. Cindy, figure out your retirement planning gaps. Awesome. Very excited. Allison, are you still with us? You want to put something in the chat? Very good, ladies. I will hold you accountable to all of those. Well, how about your one step is kind of writing out your gaps, Allison? You may have many, but they can all be tackled one by one. And so I would just encourage you, maybe you start writing them down and we can chat about them after this. Because I do think, you can make progress because it's possible if you just do one at a time. One at a time. Oh, the lottery road, I think, helped a lot. But, let's just keep moving forward. And hopefully maybe you're buying some lottery tickets, but you just got to keep moving forward. And so with that, let me put in the chat, ladies. Here is oh, shoot. Cindy, you messed me up. I sent you the email about the Google thing. Okay, hold on, everyone, because I was sharing and I lost my link. Sorry about that. I opened another email and copy pasted, and then I lost my link. So I appreciate your patience. Okay. And I'm back. Okay. In the chat, I am putting the link to the workbook. It is the first one. You can click on that link and download it directly from my website, free of charge. It's a printable workbook where it's going to kind of, as I mentioned, walk you through documenting what are some of your retirement dreams, really thinking about what is your vision around retirement. I also put in the workbook a retirement lifestyle wheel to really give you some thoughts and ideas around all of the some of the roadmap categories and conversations that I talked a little bit about, so you can kind of see, where it is, what's important to you as you think about your retirement. I also gave you another journal reflection area about financial freedom, thinking about, as you go into retirement, what does financial independence and freedom mean to you? A 90-day action plan, as well as the retirement goal vision board for you to kind of really think about moving towards your retirement, whether you're a couple months away or a couple years away. All of us, I believe, should be working towards our retirement every year. And often we just focus on the money side without thinking about some of the other actions. So really encourage you to use that vision board. I also included with that a reminder about my services. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, really helping people envision what is it their financial values that they have, what are some goals that they might have around their money. I also help oftentimes provide some clarity around spending plans, help people really think about the budget, whether it's monthly, quarterly, annual budgeting, but also provide some emotional support because there is a lot of fear around managing our finances. And so I want to really help other women build confidence in their finances. And so with that, I'm offering for new clients, I offer a 90-day prosperity package designed specifically to achieve those retirement milestones. I'm offering everyone who is in the workshop exclusive workshop only pricing for the next 48 hours, where you can get 3 60-minute coaching sessions where we can really sit down and go over, specifically what is it your retirement fears, your confidence, and oh, thank you, Allison. That was very kind of you. What is it you really want to accomplish? And with that, in the link I put in the chat is a 30-minute consultation where we can kind of go over, again, what are your goals? And we can leverage that exclusive workshop pricing. And the next thing I wanted to share with you is I am going to try something new next month in September. The third Wednesday of every month, I am going to try to go live on YouTube where you can ask questions, do some live coaching, and really share some practical strategies as I'm expanding on my coaching knowledge and answer questions. And so if you're interested, join me on my YouTube channel, which is Lord Financial Coaching. And the first topic we're going to go over is creating financial independence. I talked a little bit about that today. And with that, how you can build more choices into your future. So that's going to be September 16th at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And so join me live. It's going to be my first one. So I'm not sure how it's going to go, but I'm excited to try this new opportunity and see if we can't get some more dialogue out there. And with that, please follow me on all my social. I'm on LinkedIn, YouTube. Oh, I haven't been doing Twitter very much. Oops. I need to get back into Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. But with that, thank you so much, ladies, for joining me today. I've enjoyed our dialogue. And watch out for an email from me tomorrow. I'll share the replay. And I will also send you the link. If you have any questions, I can stay on for a couple minutes. Or you're welcome to end and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, Cindy. I'm glad you enjoyed it, ladies. You enjoy the rest of your night. Bye now.
Bye. Take care. Thank you.
You're welcome.